Good morning, I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. If you want to sound American, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Well, good morning to you, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are. I hope you'll join me today to talk a little bit about American accent training. Hello, Pascal, glad to see you. And today we're going to be talking about American vowels and doing a mini lesson on a couple of tricky vowels, vowel E and vowel I. And these are some vowels that tend to have accent error patterns regardless of your native language. So we'll talk a little bit in general about an overview about vowels. I'll give you some information about what you can find in my vowels playlist, and I'll be taking your questions and comments as usual. So welcome everybody. I'd also like to give you some quick tips today. So we'll do some actual practice, and this is going to be a little bit more like a training session and a little bit less like an overview. I want to let you know I have some more free classes coming up. Some will be online and some here in the Seattle area, so you can check those out on my website. I'll put links to them below in the description when I'm finished with this video. Last week, I talked about my vowels playlist, and I told you a little bit about how vowels, how your accent functions as a filter on what you hear, both on what you speak and what you hear when you're listening to American English. So we're going to talk about that in a little more detail today. Some of you may have had questions, and I did get a lot of questions this week about vowels. I think it's something that just cuts across all sorts of different accents, and it's one of the things that can be a little bit more difficult to hear and change in your own speech, but never fear. I find that if you get a really good understanding of the vowel sound system in English and some tips about what vowels you're hearing in your native language, that can be really helpful. So we'll go through some of that this morning. My playlist has some of the same information, and then of course information about specific vowels. So hello, nice to see you. Has some videos that will teach you how to practice on vowels, videos that will teach you how to make different vowels and hear them, what words have what vowels, how to learn about that. Generally with vowels, this is the one area where I suggest that you make an attempt to learn what's called the IPA, which is the International Phonetic Alphabet. These are symbols that represent the sounds. So when we say vowels, sometimes we're thinking about A, E, I, O, U, the letters for vowels in English. And what I'm talking about today is not the letters for vowels, but rather the sounds that vowels make. There are 16 of them in English. And I'm going to show you here. Here's a chart of the American English vowels. And I use the phonetic symbols on this chart. I'm going to include a link to where you can find this information on my website, and I have something interactive where you can actually click on the vowel and you can hear the vowel, you can see words with the vowel, and you can check and see if that vowel is in your native language or not. So the idea of learning the IPA symbols is that you're going to learn the actual sounds that the vowels make. And what I wanted to show you here briefly is that, we can see we have all of these different vowels in English, and other languages tend to be much more straightforward and much simpler. So for example, here is the Spanish vowel system. Now this is a little bit oversimplified. Pascal, you can definitely learn vowels on your own. It can be helpful initially to have a coach to help you hear and differentiate the vowels, but in my online courses and in my videos, I teach you how to record yourself and listen and be able to discriminate those vowels. And we're going to do a discrimination exercise today that will also help you, and you can see how that feels, how that goes with having a coach. So here in Spanish, we have I, E, A, U, O. Now, forgiveness to my Spanish listeners, I have an accent if I try to speak Spanish, but those vowels are simple. The letters represent the vowel. There are 5 sounds. Versus English, we have the 16 sounds. And when we overlay the Spanish on the English, you'll see that there's places where they line up. So E, same vowel in Spanish and English. But English has this vowel, I. So today we're going to be talking about E and I. And if you're a Spanish speaker, or if you speak Mandarin, Arabic, Japanese, Indian English, many languages only have this E vowel, and they don't have this I vowel. And because they're so close in how they sound and so close in how we make them in the mouth, frequently you might be saying the E vowel when you should be saying the I vowel. And you may not be able to even hear the differences between those vowels. For example, if I say the word live and leave, you may have difficulty telling which one I'm saying. I live in Seattle. I'm going to leave the room now. And so you want to make sure that you're able to differentiate these vowels and produce these vowels correctly so that you're not being misunderstood in what words you're saying. So let's talk about how we go about doing that. First of all, we have to train our brain to be able to hear the American I vowel. For most people, working on the vowel I is going to alleviate the problem for both of these vowels. For some languages, Arabic, Chinese in particular, you may have a tendency to flip-flop these two vowels. And so you still need to be able to differentiate them, but you are making both vowels already. You just may be making the incorrect vowel in the incorrect word. In that case, what I recommend is on my website and in my free online practice and in my courses, I have the words that are most frequently used in English that have the E vowel and that have the I vowel. And I recommend practicing both of those, practicing the contrast words between the two of them, and really solidifying those two vowels in your brain. The other thing to do is to learn the symbols for these vowels so that you can use a dictionary and look up whether or not the vowel should be E or the vowel should be I in the word. Typically, the I vowel is spelled with letter I, but letter I can say other sounds. The E vowel, on the other hand, can be spelled with EE, like in the word need, or with EA, like in the word eat, or with EI, like in the word peace. There are many, many different spellings for E. So it's helpful to learn that the lowercase I in brackets in IPA says E, and the small uppercase I in IPA says I. Okay, so the difference between these two vowels. I have a lot of videos about this because people have some difficulty with differentiating them. I'm going to just give you some basics tips now. Okay, and Pascal's pointing out some other differences that are difficult for him between aw and ah, and those are these vowels here. Aw, Pascal, is, oops, let me give you a better one. Aw is this rounded vowel here. It's in words like saw and thought and caught. And you see that it's in this box with the green. That means I'm rounding my lips. So other round vowels are oo, o. I have to have rounding. So aw, I have to have rounding. It is quite similar to ah, like in hot and not, but it's made a little higher in the mouth and it has lip rounding. So if I'm saying the word cot, like a bed, C-O-T, cot, my tongue is down and back, ah, cot. If I'm going to change that to caught, C-A-U-G-H-T, like I caught the ball, then my tongue is going to go up higher and I'm going to round my lips. So watch my mouth. Caught, caught. Similarly with and oo, those are both rounded sounds and they have a similar pattern as e and I. So he's talking about the word new or to and the word look or book. Those are difficult in a lot of languages. People have the oo and not the I do have some specific videos teaching you about vowel because that's a very pervasive one for many languages. So I would suggest going to that video and I'll include a link to that after I'm finished with the broadcast. Both oo and that you brought up and e and I that I'm talking about now have a distinction that has nothing to do with where they're made in the mouth. They are made in slightly different places in the mouth, but a more useful piece of information for a lot of people is that the E vowel is here in the white zone, which is tense. Tense means when I'm saying E, my face has tension, my tongue is tight, and I'm having to really use more muscle tension to make that sound properly. E, I'm smiling. When I'm saying I, my facial muscles and my tongue muscles are more lax, more relaxed. So I'm saying the I vowel. Not only is my tongue a little bit lower and not quite so far forward, I, but you can see in my face when I'm saying I, I'm using more muscles, and I, I'm using a more relaxed face. The tongue placement is important, but for many people, feeling that difference between the tight I and the lax I can be very helpful. Same goes with oo and Oo is tense, very rounded face. Is more lax with the tongue and the face. Again, you can see those specifics both in a video about I and I, separate videos about I and also So take a look at those, try them out, do some listening practice, and use a mirror when you're practicing on these vowel sounds. That's going to help you. So what else can we do to improve our listening and our discrimination of the E and the I vowels? So here's a quick tip for you. What I suggest is taking a look at some pairs of words where one word has the E vowel and one word has the I vowel. I used the example live and leave before. Hello, Michael. He wants to know if I can confirm the vowels from the diphthongs and the 5 Spanish vowels. So your comment disappeared before I really read it closely, but I think what you're asking about are these vowels here, the A and the O vowels. So in American English, you can see that the Spanish and the American English line up between O and E, except that in American English, we have this, this diphthong, this line. I'm going to show you on my American English chart because it's a little more clear. So I have a purple line there going from the A to the I. So when I say A in English, like in the words say, they, may, I'm not just saying one vowel. I'm not saying me or se. I'm not staying on that A vowel. I'm sliding to the I vowel, may. Now, that's not that helpful when people are trying to say this. To add that I doesn't sound very natural, may. So what I suggest when you're working on trying to have your American A, that's not just the one sound like the Spanish A, is to just lengthen. If I hold the A longer, I'm basically losing tension as I go. So I start off with a tense A, it's here in the tense vowels, and I'm moving to the lax I. So if I hold it longer and I allow my face and tongue to relax a little bit as I'm saying it, then I'll have the diphthong A. A is one, and then the other is the O. So in Spanish, we say O, just the vowel O. It stops on the vowel, and generally it's fairly short. In English, if I lengthen and I move to that lax O, then I'm going to have more of the American vowel, O. I also think of doing some rounding, O. The Spanish vowels in the vowel chart, says Michael. Yes, could you please point to the Spanish vowels in the vowel chart? All right, so the Spanish vowels, A, O, U, E, and Ah. I'm not really making the ah correctly because yours is a little bit further forward than the American ah. So the difference is in English, A and O, in Spanish, E and O. You can find this information on my website as well. And if you look on my website in the free online practice, I have a link, and I can put that in the comments below to show you the top 5 errors for the Spanish speakers, what pronunciation patterns you have, and E and I is one of those errors. You're so welcome, Michael. I'm glad to help you. Pascal, you had a question for me, but I didn't see it. It disappeared a little bit too quickly. You asked me to show you something. So if you want to repeat your comment, I'll come back to it when I see it. All right. I'm really glad to have the interaction from you guys today. It's really helping me answer questions that I'm sure a lot of the other viewers have as well. And so I was talking a little bit more about the E and I and how to use minimal pairs to be, minimal pairs being pairs of words where one has E and one has I, to listen and discriminate and try to help you really differentiate those two sounds. So we're going to try some. And you can repeat after me. And what I'm going to do is the first word I'm going to say has the E vowel. Most of you make this vowel correctly in American English words. Some people with some language patterns, like I said, Arabic, Chinese, a few others, may have a problem with switching and using an I vowel instead. So we're first doing the E, the tense vowel, which is high in front, and it requires tongue tension and facial tension. And then the next word I'll say will have the same letters, the same consonant sounds, but a different vowel. It'll have the I vowel, like in it and is. And that's the lax I, where my tongue is still high in front, but it's a little bit lower, and my tongue is more relaxed, more lax, and my facial muscles are more lax. So E word and then I word. Repeat after me. Let's try leave, live. Now let's try eat, it. Try beat, bit. Try read, rid. Hello, Hossam. Nice to see you. Try deal, dill. He's here from Iran. Oh, Benjamin, nice to see you. I'm glad you're here. One more time. Deal, dill. Eel, ill. Wean, win. Deem, dim. He's, his. So you may have noticed some of these words are more common than others. Certainly we're saying he's and his and eat and it a lot more than we're saying deem and dim. But I choose the words based on those contrasts so that you can really hear there are two distinct words with two different vowel sounds. For more of this type of practice, go to my website, speechmodification.com. Go to my free online practice. You can click on vowels. You can page through and look at some of those resources, either based on what your native language has or based on your vowels. Pascal wants to know if we always have to emphasize the E vowel. So perhaps you mean, are we always stressing that vowel? And that depends on the sentence context and the word context. Right now, when I'm pronouncing those words, I'm exaggerating the vowels, lengthening them to give you a better opportunity to hear them. But one other phenomenon that we have with vowels is depending on where they are in the word, they may be lengthened or they may be shortened. The duration of the vowel depends on what word it's in and not on the vowel. So E can be long and E can be short depending on where we have that. So a specific example would be in the word need. I'm going to be lengthening the E because it's followed by a D, need. But in the word neat, my E is going to be short in duration because it's followed by a T. You can learn more about that as well in my intonation exercises that have to do with voiced consonants. So, the courses that I offer, Michael wants to know, that teach the standard American accent, all of my courses are based on standard American accent. So, a good starting place is my free mini course because that'll give you an idea of how my videos work in the course, and the link to that will be below. And then also you might want to consider my Smart American Accent course for professionals. That's good regardless of what your language background is. Yes, Pascal, no matter what the duration of the E is, the tongue position is the same. So even if I'm holding it longer or shorter, I don't change where my tongue is. E is always consistent, it just can be held longer or shorter. Depending on your language background, for example, if you speak Spanish or if you speak an Indian English language, I do have courses that are designed specifically for those speakers with more of an emphasis on the accent patterns that you'll find in those languages. But my general course, which is for professionals, will be good for all languages, and it includes accent overviews that help you know which of these vowel patterns and which of the consonant patterns you have from your native language. And so you'll see, here's an example. You can also get these as free downloads on my website, but it'll list the sound patterns and the error patterns. So for example, for many of them, I'll turn to the vowels since we're talking about vowels today. For many of them, it'll say, here's vowel I, and it will be pronounced like vowel E instead of vowel I. And then I'll have an example. So it says, it sounds like eat. So you'll find which vowels you're most likely to have for patterns, which consonants you're most likely to have for patterns. You can find those in my store on my website under free downloads. I have them for all languages. And yes, Pascal, I am going to be uploading one for the Hungarian language. I do have some other Hungarian clients, believe it or not. And so I've done some research on the sound system in Hungarian. And for now, if you go to my Smart American Accent course and you look at this common pronunciation patterns for non-native speakers, and this is the one that's common for the most languages, many of the Hungarian patterns are on there. So start with that, and then when I have the Hungarian, I'll let you know that that's uploaded and you can download that. Okay, one more aspect of the quick tip. So we did some contrasting words, and what I'm going to suggest, Michael asks if I'll write a book. I have been thinking about it. I do have enough material to write a book. I'm thinking maybe an ebook might be good, because then we could have links to videos and sound files. Because I think that reading about accent is really useful for a lot of people, but for many people, being able to hear, listen, and repeat is the best way to learn. So I would want to have a combination of that. Michael, that's great. I'll let you know when I have a book and you can buy it. Okay, so as far as practicing on those types of words, I think the exercise with saying eat and it, leave and live is a good one. Pascal wants to buy my book too. Thanks, Pascal. But something a little bit more practical and a little bit more functional and higher level would be to make some sentences with these words. So I'm going to give you some examples, but it's really great when you're practicing to try to make up your own sentences, because then your brain gets busy thinking of what to say and cannot concentrate quite as much on the vowel sounds, and so you have a better opportunity to start integrating that into your everyday speech. So here's some sentences that have E and I vowels. Try this one. I leave at 5. I live in Seattle. Try this one. I eat dinner. It is good. Here's another one. I reach for my goals. I'm not rich. And one more. I read the paper, then I get rid of it. So you can hear those pairs, read and rid, reach and rich, etc. And these lend themselves to just trying to create sentences, trying to notice those vowels. So that's my tip for today. Thanks so much for being here and for all your great questions and comments, and it's great to see you. I'll be back again next Friday, and you can check on my channel page for future live broadcasts. I do have some more classes coming up. I'm doing a class, I believe it's going to be December 9th, a Saturday morning. And for that class, it's going to be, police is pronounced with an E, and bin is like B-I-N, bin. You're right, Pascal. So police has E, and bin, like I've been going, is the short I, the I vowel, bin. So I hope you can join me next Friday, and also in December on the 9th. I'll be doing a class again about vowel sounds and with question and answers. So that's a class where you can come in, you can ask me any question you want about specific vowels. Have a wonderful day, Pascal, you too. You can ask me what's a vowel in a certain word. I have trouble with these particular vowels, and we'll go through the answers together. Just so that you know, when I'm doing a live class, if I have a lot of comments, sometimes I might miss yours, and I apologize for that if they're coming in more than one at a time. You can see me looking and reading and interrupting myself to answer. So if your question didn't get answered today or another time, please leave it in the comments, and I will respond with an answer in the comments to you. I'll direct you to a video that has the answer for your question. I would really like to help you make sure that you feel like you're being heard and that your questions are being answered in these sessions. And you can always also comment on any of my videos. You can send me an email, write to me on my website, and I will get back to you with answers. If you have a word or a phrase or a vowel that you find difficult that you'd like more help with, go to my channel page and in the search box type in what you're looking for, and the videos that are related to that information will come up. Usually there's more than one, and so you'll find something that's going to answer your specific question. And if you don't find the answer to your question already in one of my videos, I'll make a new one for you to answer it. And I'll share that and let you know when it's there. Also, feel free to go to my website and take a free screening of your speech. I'll listen to it and give you feedback, let you know which vowel sounds and which other sounds you need to pay attention to and work on, or if you want, of course. And it's great to see you all. Remember, if you want to sound American, you can do it. Speechmodification.com.